All right, so you've sent us this news piece, and it looks like Bitcoin's taking a bit of a dip again.
Hmm.
And, I get it. Seeing those numbers jump around, it can be a little unnerving, especially if you're, well, if you're new to the whole crypto scene.
Yeah, it's a wild ride for sure.
That's one way to put it. But we're not just here to, gawk at the price ticker all day.
Right.
We're diving deep into this Bitcoin article. We really want to understand what's driving these market swings because it's obviously about a lot more than just, the dollar signs.
Oh, absolutely. This goes way beyond just the surface level. I mean, we're
Mhm.
talking about potentially reshaping finance as we know it.
Exactly. And this article, it mentions that Bitcoin dipped 2% to around $67,700.
Okay.
But, and this is the interesting part, it had just climbed past 69,000.
Wow.
So clearly, this isn't just another, blip on the radar. What I find really fascinating is what this volatility tells us about the crypto market as a whole.
It's like, we're seeing the early days of a brand new frontier. And we have to remember that Bitcoin and crypto in general, it's still, relatively speaking, it's still in its infancy.
Right.
So this kind of price fluctuation, while, yeah, maybe a little nerve-wracking for some people, it's almost to be expected in a market that's evolving this rapidly.
That makes sense. Like anything else, it's got to find its footing.
Exactly.
But speaking of, big players, the article also mentions Michael Saylor.
Right.
He's the CEO of MicroStrategy.
Mhm.
And his prediction that Bitcoin could hit $100,000 by 2025.
Big prediction.
He's putting some serious stock, literally, into Bitcoin. So what's driving that level of confidence?
Well, it's not just, blind faith, that's for sure. I think Saylor's bullish on Bitcoin for a few key reasons.
Mhm.
He sees it as something that's becoming increasingly mainstream, more integrated into our everyday financial systems. And this isn't just wishful thinking, We're already seeing evidence of this shift happening. Look at the rise of things like, for example, crypto ETFs.
You're right. The article did mention those, yeah.
Yeah.
It says that crypto ETFs saw a 35% jump, hitting over $40 billion.
It's huge.
But for anyone who's not fluent in, finance speak, what exactly are crypto ETFs and why should we care?
So imagine if you could invest in a bundle of cryptocurrencies, just like you would invest in a mutual fund through your regular brokerage account. That's essentially what a crypto ETF is. It basically lets investors dip their toes into the crypto world
Okay.
without the hassle of, managing individual digital wallets, that kind of thing.
So it's kind of like a more traditional on-ramp to this whole new world of crypto.
Exactly, precisely. And the fact that we're seeing these ETFs experiencing such a surge in assets, it tells us that the institutional investors, the big players, they're starting to see crypto as a legitimate asset class. They're not just dipping their toes, they're diving in head first.
That is huge.
Yeah.
And this plays directly into Saylor's prediction, right? This influx of institutional money could be a major, major factor driving Bitcoin's value up.
Oh, absolutely. But it's not just about, big money pouring in. The article also points to the rise of DeFi, decentralized finance, as a potential game changer.
Now, this is where things get really interesting for me. What exactly is DeFi and what makes it so, well, so revolutionary?
Well, imagine a world where you don't need a bank to borrow money, lend money, or even just earn interest on your money.
Okay.
That's the core idea behind DeFi.
Wow.
It's about shifting that financial power away from those traditional institutions and back to individuals using blockchain technology.
So it's like we're cutting out the middleman in the financial world.
Essentially, yes. And the article highlights that 40%, a staggering 40% of all crypto transactions are now happening on these DeFi platforms.
Really?
That's not just a trend, that is a clear sign that people are embracing this technology.
That's incredible, especially considering how new this all is.
And I know, it's amazing.
The article also mentioned that these DeFi platforms, they're finding particularly fertile ground in places like Africa and Southeast Asia.
Interesting.
What's driving that adoption in those regions specifically?
That's one of the most fascinating aspects of DeFi, in my opinion. In many parts of the world, particularly, developing nations, access to traditional banking can be very limited. DeFi can provide a more accessible alternative,
I see.
a way for people to participate in the global economy without needing a traditional bank account.
It really is amazing to think about, people who've been excluded from traditional finance. They're finding a way in through this whole new system. But let's shift gears a bit and talk about another big player that's impacting this world, AI. The article touches on how AI is becoming, a much bigger part of the blockchain space.
And it's not just about, integrating AI into blockchain. It's how these two technologies, they actually enhance each other. It's like we're talking about real synergy here. And the possibilities, well, they're pretty exciting.
The article throws out some numbers, talking about over 15 leading blockchain projects that are already using AI. So what does that actually look like in practice? Like, what's happening at that intersection of AI and blockchain?
Okay, so imagine a blockchain transaction, right? But instead of it taking minutes or even hours in some cases, it happens almost instantly.
Wow.
And that's thanks to AI optimization. Or think about AI algorithms that can comb through these massive blockchain data sets, spotting patterns and predicting market shifts with an accuracy that, frankly, we could only dream of before.
So it's about boosting efficiency and like using the data in smarter ways.
Exactly, you got it. And this isn't some, far off futuristic scenario. This AI blockchain fusion is already making waves. Take supply chain management, for example.
Okay.
With blockchain, you can track a product's journey from the factory floor all the way to your doorstep, and it's incredibly transparent.
Right.
Now layer on AI, and suddenly we're not just tracking, we're predicting potential disruptions, we're optimizing routes, we're even automating inventory management.
Wow, that's a whole new level of efficiency. And I'm guessing it's not just about making things faster, right? There's got to be a security aspect to this as well.
Oh, absolutely. One of blockchain's biggest draws has always been its security.
You're right.
You add AI to the mix,
Right.
and it's like having a security system that's constantly learning, constantly evolving, which makes it even harder for, for bad actors to exploit any vulnerabilities.
Mm-hmm. This is already a lot to process, but then the article hits us with this. Decentralized AI systems have seen a 24% jump in the past year alone. That kind of growth it's almost unheard of. What's fueling that rapid advancement?
I think it speaks to the incredible potential that people see in this technology.
Right.
Look, we're still in the early stages, but the pace of innovation it's really staggering. Researchers, developers, they're constantly finding new ways to leverage AI to make blockchain even better.
Yeah.
And this creates this feedback loop,
Yeah.
Every advancement, it just fuels even greater possibility.
It's like the snowball effect.
Exactly.
This deep dive has taken us from like the wild ride of Bitcoin's price to the institutional embrace of these crypto ETFs, the rise of DeFi, and now this mind-blowing convergence of AI and blockchain. It's a lot to absorb. What should we be taking away from all of this?
You've hit the nail on the head. It is a lot. But that's also the beauty of it. I mean, we're witnessing a fundamental shift in how we think about finance, about technology, about the very systems that kind of underpin our world.
It's like we're seeing like the birth of a new era right before our eyes.
It really is remarkable.
But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's bring it back to the heart of it all. Bitcoin. The article focuses on it pretty heavily, but we know that there's a whole universe of cryptocurrencies out there.
Oh, yeah.
With everything we've discussed, does Bitcoin still wear the crown in this rapidly changing landscape? So is Bitcoin still the king of the crypto hill, or are there some serious contenders, lining up to take its place?
Well, I mean, that's the million-dollar question, right?
It seems like it.
Bitcoin still has, the biggest market cap, that's for sure. But to call this crypto landscape dynamic, I mean, that feels like an understatement. It's more like, this constantly evolving ecosystem.
So who are the contenders? Like, who's out there really shaking things up?
Well, we were talking about DeFi earlier, and a lot of those platforms, they're actually built on Ethereum's blockchain.
Okay.
And Ethereum, it's not just a currency like Bitcoin. It's a platform that allows for all sorts of different applications, which makes it a powerhouse in its own right.
So it's like the difference between, having a gold bar and then having the tools to actually build something new.
Perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And then beyond Ethereum, there's this whole wave of, new cryptocurrencies popping up all the time. And each one has its own unique selling points, its own potential applications.
Right.
Some are focused on privacy, others on speed, some on like specific use cases within certain industries.
It's a lot to keep up with.
It really is.
For anyone listening who's maybe, feeling a little overwhelmed, a little intimidated by all of this, what advice would you give them?
Don't be afraid to dive in. I know the world of crypto can seem daunting, but it's also incredibly exciting. The more you learn about it, you realize that this isn't just about, getting rich quick. It's about being part of something that has the potential to, maybe even change the world.
So where does one even begin?
Start by being curious. Read articles, listen to podcasts like this one, maybe even, maybe dabble in a little trading if you're feeling adventurous.
Hmm?
But the most important thing, think critically.
Okay.
Don't believe everything you read or hear.
Right.
Do your own research, ask questions, and maybe most importantly, don't be afraid to learn as you go.
Yeah, it's a journey. It's not a race.
Exactly.
Today, we've gotten a glimpse into this future where, where finance is more decentralized, more transparent, and driven by this cutting-edge technology. And the best part, we're all invited to be part of it, to help shape this future. So as you continue exploring this world, here's something to think about. What if the next big disruption, what if it's not just another cryptocurrency? What if it's a fundamental shift in how we think about value and how we exchange anything of worth?
Wow. Now that is a thought-provoking question. A huge thank you to you and all of you listening for diving deep with us today. Remember, knowledge is power. And in the world of crypto, a little curiosity, well, it can go a long way.